Let's review measures of central tendency. So that's your mean, median, and mode. So data tends to cluster around a certain value. And that value is what we call the central tendency. So we have three different ways to measure that central tendency: our mean, our median, and the mode. Let's first talk about the mean. So the mean is the average, right? This is the most common measure of central tendency. We talk about the average in all facets of life and business. There's a couple different ways that we can calculate this. If we just want to do it mathematically, we can sum all of our values in the data set and then divide that by the number of observations that we have. If we're working in Excel, there's a function, and we just type in equals average and then select all of our data. So notice it's not equals mean, it's equals average when we're working in Excel. The median, this is the middle of your data set. So half of the observations are going to be higher, and the other half of the observations are going to be lower. Again, two different ways that we can find this one. Mathematically, we can find what we'll call the median location, where we take our n, the sample size, we go n plus 1 divided by 2. That's going to give us the location where we can find the median once we sort our data. So if we sort all of our observations from greatest to least, and then we look and see which value, which observation is in the spot of our median location, that would become our median. If we're working in Excel, things can be a lot simpler. In Excel, we just type in equals median and select all of our data. Mode is the one that appears most often in the data set. We can find that by sorting our data and looking through it all. Or if we have a lot of different observations, it might just be easier to create a frequency table. And then that way we'll be able to see how often a certain value or response shows up in our data set. If we're working in Excel, there's two different ways that we can find the mode. There's mode.sngl if we just have one single mode, or if we think we have multiple modes, we can use mode.molt. So once we find these measures of central tendency, if we start comparing our values, it can help tell us what the shape of our frequency distribution might look like. So comparing the mean and the median is going to tell us how we are skewed in terms of our frequency distribution. We could be left skewed, which means that the tail of our distribution is on the left, or we can be right skewed, which means that the tail of the distribution is on the right. So let's take a look at what this means. If the mean and the median are nearly equal, or if they are equal to each other, the distribution will look like a bell curve, where we see the peak in the middle, and we see it symmetrically leveling off and sloping down on either side. Left skewed means that the median is greater than the mean. So notice here that that's because the outliers would be on the lower end of the data. Outliers would be bringing down your mean, bringing down your average, causing you to have this left skewed distribution. Right skewed is the opposite. Right skewed is if the median is less than the mean, because you have the outliers on the higher end of your data set. So those outliers would be bringing up the mean and causing this right skewed frequency distribution. So when do we use these measures of central tendency? Our mean, this one is the easiest to determine and the easiest to understand and communicate. So if we're just trying to find a simple way to communicate our data, our observations, the mean might be your best option. The median is your best option if you know that there are outliers. If there's outliers in your data set, that can really affect what your mean is. So in that case, we want to use our median. And the mode, well, we aren't always using numbers, right? Sometimes our data is words. Sometimes it's categorical data. And in that case, we can't have a mean or a median. Our only choice when working with categorical data will be using the mode.